CNN's latest documentary to address anti-Semitism complete? Hello, I'm Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert report for Wednesday, August 31. When I first saw reports that CNN did a documentary on anti-Semitism being on the rise, I was very proud of them. I am personally not a CNN watcher, but I will check on articles and clips shared with me. So when I saw the organization dedicated an entire hour to the topic of anti-Semitism being on the rise, I found this encouraging that a news agency was finally covering an otherwise overlooked topic. Dana Bash, an accomplished political correspondent for CNN, spearheaded the program. Dana herself is the descendant of Holocaust victims. To quote from an interview with Dana about making the documentary, "I always knew my great-grandparents were killed in Auschwitz, that my great-aunt was killed in Auschwitz. What happened to our family is the ultimate anti-Semitism. That was a key motivation in making rising hate anti-Semitism in America. Our grandparents certainly realized that anti-Semitism exists even in America. They lived in Skokie, Illinois, site of the famous battle over a planned Nazi march in 1977. Yet they maintained a deep and abiding belief in the decency of the United States and believed Americans could be trusted to repudiate Jew hate. We owe it to them to call out anti-Semitism. It is our responsibility." To find a link to the full program, check out this promo blog and access it. Here's also another excellent preview clip. I've watched several clips of the documentary, but I'm not a CNN paid subscriber, so I've yet to see the entire program. But from what I did see, I was impressed. The violence that Jews experience in communities around the United States was being exposed and called out. Dana exposes online anti-Semitic activities, incidences on college campuses, as well as noted the FBI statistic that Jews are the most targeted group in America for hate crimes. The program also addresses anti-Semitism from the far-right neo-Nazi type groups in detail. But then I saw some credible watchdog and advocacy groups raise concerns about the content of the documentary, even while being positive about it and praising its airing. I had to investigate. JNS published an opinion piece that said CNN got it only partially right. The JNS piece noted that while Bash did cover the SUNY Newplat story, the one I reported on last week about the sexual assault victims being ousted from a support group for being Jewish, the JNS writer points out that the documentary fell short, being incomplete, and thus in its omissions, for all intents and purposes, a failure in reporting. In discussing left-wing anti-Semitism, Bash's report hinted but not fully explained why progressives on campuses or elsewhere would target supporters for Israel and engage in anti-Semitic invective and delegitimization. What Bash did not explain was the idea is called intersectionality, a belief that is also a direct corollary of critical race theory. The Forward also published articles praising the documentary for what it did accomplish and expose, but it also called out its shortcomings in examining the issue of anti-Semitism from the left beyond college campuses. While I'm grateful for the mention of anti-Semitism's manifestations on the progressive left, especially in the form of anti-Zionism on college campuses, as the program came to a close, I couldn't help but feel I wanted more, and the Jews of America needed so much more. Ms. Meltzer ended her article with a message to CNN and the like. "I urge the progressive movement to gather the courage to face manifestations of anti-Semitism on the political left, to go beyond a few minutes in an hour-long television program or a hesitant speech." World Israel News was the most scathing in feedback towards the documentary. The omissions in reporting about the progressive left was severely criticized. The Coalition for Jewish Values, the CJV, representing over 2,000 traditional observant rabbis in matters of public policy, have dismissed the CNN report rising hate anti-Semitism in America as, quote, "a deliberate whitewash of the left-wing anti-Semitism," unquote. Though the program acknowledged that hatred came from both the left and right, it also seemed to suggest that 90% of anti-Semitism can be tied to white supremacy. Poway, Charlottesville, and the former President Donald Trump not condemning Duke enough for their liking was the focus, said SJV Vice President Rabbi Fisher. Fisher continues, "There was no mention of Representatives Ilhan Omar or Shalita Tlaib or Louis Farrakhan or the perpetrators of the clear majority of shootings, stabbings, and other random violent attacks that have become sadly commonplace in Brooklyn, Muncie, and Jersey City. This was a deliberate whitewash, one that enables left-wing anti-Semitism to fester unchecked. The SJV has stated that according to both police statistics and leaders in these affected communities, the overwhelming majority of anti-Semitic attacks in recent years have been committed by individuals motivated by leftist views who could not be called white supremacists for obvious reasons. The CNN special failed to mention New York City attacks and the views of the attackers, but discussed the hostage crisis in a synagogue in Colliesville, but with no mention of the hateful beliefs that motivated that gunman as he demanded the release of an al-Qaeda terrorist. CNN failed to speak with a single Orthodox rabbinic leader, whether from the Simon Wiesenthal Center or a rabbinic organization like our own, the SJV, and it hid from the audience the prominent cause of the current crisis. My purpose of pointing out what many are seeing as a deficit in the documentary, while praising it and Miss Bash for her efforts, is to continue to understand that anti-Semitism manifests like a whack-a-mole carnival game. Therefore, we cannot allow it to go unchecked in any vein. And it is important and valuable as the information that Miss Bash shared, much of which I've been reporting on for 12 years, we cannot let even one strain of anti-Semitism slip by unchallenged. Anti-Semitism is like a cancer, so even if you carve out the most obvious tumor, but leave even one cell to escape, a perhaps even more aggressive tumor will grow and take over the body. Anti-Semitism from the far left, left unchecked, will grow and have deadly consequences. Our responsibility is to be watchmen sounding the alarm and to provide aid and comfort to the Jewish people and Israel as they suffer being the target of an ageless and relentless campaign of hate. Be praying for anti-Semitism to be revealed and made obvious to everyone so we can all feel empowered to stand up against it no matter our circumstance. We all must carve it out of our communities, our schools, our businesses, and our political leadership. Shavua Tov, and have a great